Welcome to Litbit channel. Today we will see the poem A Different History by Sujata Bhatt. Let's we see the impression book by question answer. First one, why does the poet says that Pan has immigrated to India? The poet says that the Pan has immigrated to India to highlight the cultural exchange and colonializations that has occurred throughout the history. In this context, Pan, the Greek god of the wild, shepherds and fertility, represent the cultural and religious beliefs of the Western world. By saying that Pan has immigrated to India, the poet is suggesting that Western cultural and religious beliefs have been imposed upon India, supplanting the native cultural and religious practices. This is a metaphor for the cultural colonization that has occurred in India, where the dominant West suppressed the indigenous culture. The poet is using this image to explore the themes of cultural identity, colonization, and the erasures of native cultures. By bringing Pan to India, the poet is highlighting the ways in which Western culture has been imposed upon India and the impact this has had on the country's cultural heritage. Next one. Why does Sujata Bhatt says that the god wandered freely in India? Which are the gods she is referred to? Sujata Bhatt says that the god wandered freely in India to suggest that the country has a rich cultural heritage and a diverse religious landscape where multiple deities and belief systems coexist and are deeply ingrained in everyday life. The god she is referring to are likely the various deities from Hinduism. The majority religion in India such as Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Ganesha and others. These gods are an integral part of Indian culture and are often depicted in art, literature and everyday life. By saying that these gods wander freely, the poet is suggesting that they are an integral part of the fabric of Indian society and are not confined to temples or religious texts but are present in everyday aspect of life including the street, market and homes. The image also suggests a sense of fluidity and syncretism where different religious traditions and beliefs coexist and blend together, creating a unique and diverse cultural landscape. The poet is celebrating the rich cultural heritage of India, where the sacred and the mundane coexist and where the gods are an integral part of everyday life. How do people in India treat books? The speakers suggested that in India, books are treated with great reverence and respect. The line, books are treated like gods, implies that gods are considered sacred objects worthy of veneration and worship. In Indian culture, books are often considered a source of knowledge, wisdom, and spiritual guidance. The written word is highly valued, and books are seen as a means of assessing ancient wisdom, cultural heritage, and spiritual truth. The comparisons of books to God suggest that they are handled with care, devotion, and reverence, much like religious icons or sacred texts. This treatment of a book reflecting the high esteem in which knowledge, learning and literatures are held in Indian culture. By highlighting this cultural attitude towards books, the poet is celebrating the importance of knowledge, literature and learning in Indian society and suggesting that books have a special significance in Indian culture that goes beyond their material value. Next one, what does the oppressor's language to do the oppressed people? The oppressor's language is suggested to have a profound impact on the oppressed people. The language of the colonizer imposed upon the colonized is described as a force of the soul, erases their cultural identity, tortures them, forces them to grow to love a strange language. The poem suggests that the imposition of the oppressor language leads to cultural erasure, identity loss, psychological trauma, and forced assimilation. The language of the oppressor is portrayed as a tool of domination used to subjugate and control the oppressed, erasing their cultural heritage and identity. The poem highlights the violent impact of linguistic imperialism, where the dominant culture imposes its language on the marginalized, leading to a loss of cultural autonomy and self expression. Next one, you will notice that the poet repeat it is a sin several times. What is the effect of this repetition? The repetition of it is a sin throughout the poem has several effects. That the repetition emphasizes the gravity of the issue, making it clear that the erasure of cultural identity and language is a serious offense. The repetition creates a sense of rhythm, making the poems more musical and memorable. Takes on an incantatory quality, evoking a sense of rituals or prayers, underscoring the poet's emotional investment in the issue. Then each repetition increases the sense of urgency and intensity, conveying the poet's growing outrage and distress. The repetition creates a refrain, making the phrase "it is a sin" a kind of chorus which resonates throughout the poem, reinforcing the central message. Then, by repeating it is a sin, the poet reinforced that moral judgment on the erasure of cultural identity, framing it as a moral transgression rather than just a historical fact. The repetitions of it is a sin becomes a powerful tool driving home the poet's message and creating a sense of emotional resonance with the readers. Next one, what is the poet's attitude towards the grandchildren who learn to love the language of the oppressors? The poet's attitude towards the grandchildren who learn to love the language of the oppressors is complex and open to interpretations. However, it can be interfered that the poet views this phenomenon with a mix of. The poet seems to lament the fact that the grandchildren are embarrassing the language of the oppressors, indicating a loss of cultural heritage and identity. The use of grow to love suggests a sense of inevitability, as if the poet feels that this is an unavoidable consequence of colonialism and cultural imperialism. The poet may be disappointed that the younger generation is not holding on to their cultural roots and language, instead embarrassing the dominant culture. The poet may also be acknowledging the complex of the situation, understanding that the grandchildren are navigating a complex web of cultural identity, power dynamics, and survival. The poet's attitude is not one of outright condemnation, but rather a nuanced and melancholic reflections on the consequence of colonialism and cultural erasure. The poem represents a throughout full and introspective explorations of the complexities of cultural identity, language, and power. Next one, what according to Bhatt is a paradox of a language. According to author, the paradox of the language is that it cut your tongue and lips and tortures, crop the souls, and yet it is also something that we grow to love. In other words, a language has the power of to both harm and heal, abridge, the liberate, and silence and express. This paradox is highlighted in the poem as the speaker reflects on the complex relationship between language, culture, and identity. Language can be a tool of domination, erasure, and pain, but it is also a means of expression, communication, and connection. This paradox is central to the poem explorations of the complexities of language and its role in shaping our identities, cultures, and histories. Bhatt poems suggest that language is a double-edged sword capable of inflicting harms and also of being a source of love, comfort, and empowerment. This paradox is a key theme in the poem, highlighting the complex and often contradictory nature of language and its impact on our lives. Thank you viewers. Thanks for watching this video.